Pretend for a moment, just one moment, that you're a solitary astronaut in an inky void surrounded by the majesty of the cosmos. Around you, the stars shimmer like a million sparkling diamonds. The galaxies stretch and swirl into the infinite distance, and the planets spin in harmonious orbits in a cosmic ballet that's been danced since the very beginning of time. Humans have always looked up to the space for thousands and thousands of years and wondered about it. But when's the last time that each of you deeply thought about space? And I mean really deeply thought about it. We oftentimes like to go and see space, but when do we really think about the meaning behind it? Today, I'd like to take you on a journey looking at space through three different lenses: the lens of wonder, the lens of beauty, and the lens of meaning. Albert Einstein once famously said that the most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. And it's hard to say what there is that is more mysterious in this world than space itself. You've probably heard the saying that there are more stars in the observable universe than there are grains of sand on all of Earth's beaches. Just think about that for 1 second. That's 10 sextillion stars, or 10 followed by 21 zeros. And it's not like the distances between these stars is any less mind-boggling. The closest star to our planet, other than the Sun of course, is Proxima Centauri, which is over 4.24 light years away, which means that light, the fastest traveling thing in the universe, takes over 4.24 years to reach it. That's over 25 trillion miles, or going around the Earth's circumference 1 billion times. If you were to walk that distance somehow, and stay alive for all of it, that would take over 950 million years. If you were to go 950 million years on Earth when you started that journey, you'd be back in the Ice Age hanging out with some unicellular organisms. That's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more that we've discovered about space through science that leads to wonder. The discovery of cosmic microwave background radiation that serves as a time capsule to the very beginning of it all, with the possibility of a Big Bang that started our universe. The idea of a multiverse, where there's parallel realities, each with its own set of governing physics and laws. And the discovery of dark energy that pushes and fuels the expansion of the universe and takes up 70% of all energy, but we still know almost nothing about. And the idea that there could be extraterrestrial life out there on one of the thousands of exoplanets we found, or some of them ones we haven't, some of which are in the Goldilocks zone or the habitable zone, which have the conditions just right for intelligent life as we know it. But what's to say that there's intelligent life out there, but not as we know it? Who knows? We are left to wonder. Next, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about beauty. And I'm not talking about just saying ooh and ah at the sheet of stars that you see at the sky every night. I'm talking about the galaxies that stretch across and swirl in the cosmos. Let's take a look at the Milky Way galaxy, for example. The Milky Way galaxy is the one we call home, but it's home to many others as well. It has over 100 billion stars in the galaxy, each with its own story to tell and its exoplanets. And then I'd like to talk to you about nebulas. Nebulas are clouds of gas that is where the creation of planets and stars occurs. So we have the Orion Nebula here, or the Horsehead Nebula here, which is something random in space, but we see it looks like a horse head, so something that we have on Earth, so we find its beauty. I'd like to talk to you about Jupiter and its big red spot that reveals so much about, it's a centuries-old storm that we know so little about, but it reveals so much about planetary dynamics after we've been researching it. Saturn has its resplendent rings that implore us to look at its icy moons and its possibility for containing extraterrestrial life. And black holes are gravity's most terrifying yet most beautiful discovery of how it physically warps space-time, but also has beauty in its images. And finally, I'd like to talk to you about Earth, our pale blue dot. From millions of miles away, you can see that that tiny speck is our Earth. It contains every human that has lived, every human that is living, every conflict that's happened, every war that's happened, all in that one tiny speck, to show you how we are just one small miraculous part of this universe. I implore you after you leave today to also look at pictures from the Hubble telescope, which are some of the most beautiful pictures you might have ever seen. The Pillars of Creation, the Sombrero Galaxy, and the Ultra Deep Field are just some of the few images that we have of how beautiful our universe is. Finally, I'd like to talk to you about meaning. Ancient civilizations have often looked up to the stars for finding meaning from it. The ancient Egyptians and Babylonians looked at the stars and thought that it could lead to human destinies and fate and how you could read that from just looking at the stars. Mythology looked at constellations and wrote narratives about heroes and villains and how they interacted and fought with each other by just looking at the stars. And when we now know that science has disproved these myths mostly, we now know that we still take them as part of our heritage and our history. But science nowadays finds meaning in space through a different way, through innovation, through creating stuff. We have the International Space Station, which serves as a collaboration that's doing cutting-edge research. And while we might have geopolitical tensions on Earth between many countries, the International Space Station shows how we can collaborate when things really truly matter to us, like space. We have other innovations, such as nanosatellites that give us access to making weather predictions or doing GPS transmissions, and we work on projects such as space mining and space elevators. We have organizations that democratize access to space, such as NASA or the European Space Agency, and even private organizations nowadays, such as Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic, that implore people to think more about space and the meaning behind it and how it can go along with humanity in the future. Lastly, I'd like to talk to you about NASA's MOXIE, which is currently creating oxygen from carbon dioxide and also studying synthetic biology and genomics to learn more about how we can grow food for Mars and potentially make it a future colony. We now no longer take space as something that dictates our fate and fortune, but something that we look to understand our place in the grand narrative of the universe. When we study the birth and evolution of the universe to understand our place in the cosmic tapestry. And we find that it's our calling to explore, to dream, and to endure the mystery of space that's captivated humanity since the dawn of time. And then in every star, every distant galaxy, and every intricate nebula, we find a reflection of our own quest, our quest for understanding, our quest for beauty, our thirst for finding meaning in everything. And in that reflection, we see ourselves, because we really are made from the stuff of stars. Thank you.